Hello and welcome to another episode of the Bazaar Overexplained, and today we're playing Vanessa. With Season 6 of the Bazaar, I've been having most fun playing, I think, Vanessa out of all the characters. It just feels like she has the most viable builds and most diverse builds in the game currently. I don't know, I've been playing like Pygmalion and things of this nature, and even like, I want to say Mac to some degree. I've been struggling to kind of find my way with what items I want to be playing and like what can win and be good, or what I guess is fun and can be good. It's a tough place that the Bazaar is in right now. I feel like it's really balanced, but it's kind of very similar to what it was in Season 5. So going into Season 6 here, I think a lot of tried and true builds still work, and one of those is definitely including the katana. I'm going to take the bayonet as well. I think that's a pretty good amount of damage for us, and here are two really good items as well. Getting the switchblade works really well with our katana. Getting the fishing rod will be some passive income for us, as it's just going to generate a small item every single day. And looking at these options here, we don't have a lot of money, so Quixel doesn't make sense. I think getting 3 bronze tier chocolates and gaining some health is not a bad idea at this stage, but I also like going to the Lost Crate here, and instead of rolling on a skill, because we would only really care about a damage based skill, I'm going to take a medium item here and see what we can find. Okay, Langxian. Well, if we're going to be playing the Langxian, I think it might make sense, especially because we have it so early here, to put it in for these fights and get this powered up as fast as possible, because I think if we can get this fight against one of these NPCs, that'll bode well for us. And the Kyber drone also has this Langxian, so if we can even get this thing to silver tier very quickly, there's a world I can see where this is off to the races and this becomes our entire build. However, the Kyber drone also just has insect wing, the train skill. Even getting like an eagle talisman's okay here if we're planning on using this katana, but what I'd really again love to see is just another Langxian to silver tier this out, and we can do the old reliable here and go for a Langxian build. Okay, so win that fight pretty handily, which is good for our early game fights, and we get the train skill. Okay. Not what I was hoping for, but it's not a bad one. I'm also just thinking about what we want to do from here. So we have this 3 gold. A sharpening stone is going to work well on our katana. Because we don't have a lot of gold here, I am going to take that sharpening stone. 5 damage on our katana is effectively doubling what it does. So just going to take that, put that on there. We can start planning our build like so. Okay, Pip, we're looking for damage-based skills. Arms Dealer is a pretty good one too. It's a tough decision. Arms Dealer would allow us to get the max health that we would need for if we're going to be going in more of like a, I want to say like mid-range damage-based build, one that's not necessarily bursting, but is kind of needing some time to scale its damage. I'm really tempted to try and roll here for a damage-based skill. But if we don't hit there, it's going to feel bad to pass up on this arms dealer. Yeah, I will. And also thinking about our train skill, we may want to go out of weapons, so we're not necessarily going to be buying and selling a lot with arms dealer. I'm going to reroll there and see if we can hit. And we do. Strength is perfect here. 40 damage onto our board. Feels really nice. And here's an interesting decision too, because middle could have an upgrade for our Langxian or our katana. Katana upgrade doesn't matter too much, but I would have to sell our economy item in the fishing rod to do that, and I wouldn't be able to reroll either, so I'd have 3 chances to level this thing up. It's a risk. The only thing I really want to see here, I think, is Langxian or like the diving suit, I believe it is. That could be really nice with our build. Yeah, I guess there are items that I'd want. I can't find Julian here anymore, but let's not sacrifice this economy item just yet. Let's go to the jungle ruins. We could even get some loot. If I do find another sharpening stone, that'd be great. 3 regens, also pretty nice. I do like just taking the silver tier item here, and wow. Okay, Cleaver is actually a pretty good one. It says at the start of each fight, this permanently gains 20 damage, so we're incentivized to put it on the board. And I'm just thinking, if I'm putting this on the board, I put it in place of the Switchblade. The Switchblade also has a pretty low cooldown now. I don't really want to sacrifice on this damage that I'd be putting on the katana, mainly because I want to win with this Langxian so that I can level this up, and I think that means I should be presenting the strongest board that I can, and 25 damage on a 6-second cooldown versus this katana, which will eventually outscale that, makes me want to just play it like it is. So we're going to sacrifice a little bit of value here on the cleaver in terms of the damage output, but I think we're going to present a rather strong board on day one against this dually. Let's see what they have. They do have shielding, copper red, Chris Army knife, duct tape, and they also have Clarence. They have 2 friends for their Clarence, so that is rather scary. Notably, they have an SMG with this duct tape, so that's creating a decent amount of shielding. We're going to see if we can burst them down in time. This Clarence is getting pretty big, but I think with our katana, it's going to be a little bit faster. And yeah, that Clarence has no crit chance as they put their crit chance on their copper ed. Maybe a little bit of a mistake from them, but that's okay. All right, well, we get some more damage on the Langxian. We can keep moving on into day 2. Okay. 4 regen is pretty nice here early on. Quixel, my reservation with going to Quixel is that it's 4 gold to reroll, and I already see some nice free options in front of us. I don't have a toy. Oh, I do have a friend for our tiny furry monster, so that could be good too. Yeah, let's do that. We were gifted this pufferfish, or this catfish rather, from our fishing rod, so let's take advantage. Wow, nice upgrade here. Left eye is not bad, but adding 20 more damage to our board, which will be even more soon enough, feels pretty good. And okay, Ayla I do like, especially with this gold tier, this silver tier strength skill, means that I do want to get some of these items. Pet rock is really good. Grenade can be very powerful, just critting for 100 damage is really nice. Shuriken is a pretty good build around if we can find the right items, so I'm going to take it on the spec, and I'm going to reroll here, see if we can find some upgrades. We don't, but Zorasid is a good one too, so I will take that. As our board expands, I feel like that'll be important to have. And again, our build is pretty slow, and just because it's Langxian, but it does do a lot of damage. And I'm thinking about this eccentric aetherite being where I want to go. Yeah, I could also go to the warrior here. They have some pretty good weapons. I feel confident in that I could defeat them as well. If I get the sharpening stone, if I get the old sword, all of that be pretty good. I'd even play the lumbors just because it works really well with our katana. And honestly, even taking an expedition ticket wouldn't feel too bad either. So we'll get the damage on the Langxian, and let's see what we get from our warrior. Scrap, okay, not what we were looking for, but that does represent 2 gold. And I do like going to middle here. Again, if we can get the upgrade to the Langxian, that'd be nice. Beach ball's not really it. Let's reroll. Okay, 2 very nice items here. Cyber size also pretty cool too. We don't have any crit chance on our board, so it doesn't make a ton of sense to pick this up. But I do like trying to pick up this shark claws and this fishing rod. Shark claws we can put on board pretty quickly. Let's sell off this scrap. I'll put that on the board for our upgrade, and I do want to get this upgraded too. I don't think I'm utilizing the catfish. I honestly don't think I'm utilizing the cleaver either. Now it comes down to, do we keep our pet rock or do we keep our Zorasid? With the Zorasid, it works very well with the Langxian just because we're going to be hasting that, and how I would want to build out my board ideally is have this Zorasid next to the shark claws and the Langxian. And I guess it made it be just Shuriken, although if we are playing the Zorasid, we're probably not playing the pet rock, so I'll sell the pet rock, I'll get the fishing rod, and that'll allow us to get a little bit more gold as this thing will start pumping out silver items. Forge Fortune, really nice here, gained 14 gold, so 2 for each weapon. Feels pretty good there. Yeah, let's put our shark claws on board. This will be very nice with what we're doing. Also do something like that. Lick It is not a bad one. Kina could be good. I think Kina here, because if I could find a Julian, or yeah, Cove works pretty well. That'll be a nice economy item. And the integrated HUD is pretty interesting because we have this train skill, but I don't like it at bronze tier. I wouldn't really want to play this item for a very long time. Like if it was at gold or diamond tier, sure, but the 10% crit chance is not going to do good, that much good rather, and it's not going to be better than our bayonet, so let's roll here. Okay, we do find a star chart though, yet another economy item for us. This will allow us to get some extra XP, which feels really nice. So yeah, do we want to play the Oni mask? We could. With this train skill, the Oni mask fort seems more appealing, but I'm not going to buy it now. I feel pretty confident where we're at. And yeah, let's face this Vanessa, see what they got going on. Alright, it's Deadly Eye, Shark Claws, Star Chart, Katana, Switchblade, Pet Rock. So they're doing what we're doing, but they also have 10 regen. They don't have the Langxian though, so realistically, I think with that burst of damage, we're going to be in a pretty decent spot. Although critting on that guy makes this hard, but okay. Yeah, 185 damage and one big burst is exactly what we need to take care of that 10 regen. That could have been scary. Alright, another win for us going into day 3, playing a pretty classic weapons-based board. And what do we get? So, we get a pearl. Okay. I really would like to go to this eating contest, but I don't have a lot of space in my bag. But what I could do is get at least like 3 chocolates. I could also sell off the star chart. That is very tempting because a lot of that money would go right back into the cove, and we have a really strong board already. So yeah, I will sell off these items so that I can go to our eating contest, get these chocolates here, and this is really going to allow us to survive and probably thrive, at least for the next 2 days. 150 health difference compared to our opponents is pretty substantial, so we don't have a lot of money here. I will just take another 3 chocolates and that'll be pretty good for us. You know, the giant mosquito, I believe, has been nerfed a little bit, but regardless, I really need to ensure that I'm winning my fights as much as I can. So if there is the potential for this to kill me, I don't want to take that risk. I think it just makes more sense to go to Tempest Bravo here. They have this Flame Dancer skill, but what I'm really thinking is that they have the Sharpening Stone, and they also have a bar of gold. So with this bar of gold, I could kind of replenish some of the economy that I used so that I could get some extra health. But we'll see what we get. Fiery Cutlass is also a pretty nice Vanessa item if we're going into a 1-weapon build. Let's see, we get a bar of gold. All right. Kind of exactly what I was looking for here. So we are going to need to expand out our board a little bit. That could put the fishing rod on our shark claws, and that would be one way, but I think there's better ways for us to go about this. I like going to Kina here, especially if we can like refine the Zorasid. It feels weird to sell it off in the position that we did, but I still think it makes sense. And okay, here's a silencer. Because we have this strength skill, I think we're kind of more angling for a weapon spam type board, and thus I don't really want to take the silencer. Yeti Crab is pretty decent, Beach Ball too, but not really the things I'm looking for. I was going to say Wetware would be insane, and that is what we find here, so this will play really good offense and defense for us here, or I guess I should say it's going to play really good defense for us, because it is going to be shielding a tremendous amount because we have this katana. It doesn't count the bayonet, but it still is going to do, I think, really good stuff for us. So now with our B1, B2 upgrade, the safest bet is the Shark Claws, but the fun one is a Langxian, so I'm going to go for the Langxian. So we'll see if we get punished for this. And okay, now that we see Finn's big fight versus Sylvia, we could go to Sylvia and sell off our cove, but I think it makes more sense to go to Finn's here. Having the opportunity to gain 5 regen and like 40 life. You could also put 10 shield on this, but I like the 5 regen. I like more life. I think that this will be pretty powerful for us as we go into this fight with a Pygmalion. Let's see what they got. They have golf clubs, cargo shorts. That can be pretty scary, especially with the clubs. They also have the succulents. It's healing for 40, yellow piggles on their piggles protector. So they do have a tremendous amount of healing here. Their golf clubs are going to be scary. It doesn't have any crit chance on it. And I don't know if we're going to be scaling necessarily fast enough for this. Our wetware is also not outscaling their golf clubs, so that's a pretty big problem. Looks like we're gonna get shot up with that thing. Yeah, okay. Unfortunate there. They had a really strong healing board that produced a lot of shielding. You can just see that this Pickles Protector alone did 600 shielding, and this golf club did 1600. So yeah, unfortunate there, but that's the risk we take with these sorts of builds. Okay, well, we did sell off the map, so or the star chart, so the docks is less appealing for us. I do like going to Volpack here, though, and seeing if we can find a little bit of an upgrade. I don't think our board is weak by any stretch of the imagination. I think we just faced a strong opponent. And I don't really want to spend 4 gold to reroll here. There are a lot of directions we can go with our board, but I guess if we could also buy like an aquatic item like this coral, and because we have this ambergris, when we buy another aquatic item, it's going to gain 2 value, and the coral was, 2 to buy, so we essentially netted some good value there. And thinking about that with this life preserver, if we buy it, it's going to be 4 gold to buy. We can sell it for 3 gold because it's Volpack, and that's going to generate 3 gold over here, so nice little value play there too. All that said, I don't know that I want to continue doing this. Let's keep going here. Okay, Barkin, sure. See what we can find. Bladed Hoverboard is a really nice item. It could be something we pivot into as well. I do like the Hoverboard build, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that. It does deplete our resources, but I think that's a-okay. And thinking about our board, does it make sense to put that on there now? So the Hoverboard is essentially better bayonet. I guess we could do this. I think that will be, well, maybe not necessarily with the strength skill, because this is 20 damage for the strengths. This is just another 10 because we're taking that item out. It might actually just be a little bit more damage like this only because of that strength skill. So we're missing out on 15 there. I guess 25 realistically, but we're making up for it pretty quickly with our Switchblade and our katana. Yeah, so this is a little bit more damage. Okay, Blood Reef Raider seems pretty decent here. We could get the Crow's Nest. That would be a really good signpost in the direction where we know we should go into a 1-weapon build. Getting some of these other items could be interesting too, but I think realistically, I'm looking for this Crow's Nest, and I would sell off some items to make space for that. Having a 1-weapon build and finding a good 1-weapon item for that is a really nice way to transition out of where we're at right now. And defeat them pretty handily here. Get the invulnerability potion. Not a bad item. And honestly, it's something that I'd be very tempted to play. Yeah, but with their bladed hoverboard, I think it makes a lot of sense to go to Colt, because we could find those shurikens again, and we do. Okay. This has multicast equal to its current ammo, and we can put some more ammo on this, so it'd be a nice big amount of burst damage. I'd also like to keep going here. Do I sell off the ambergris? No, yeah. The cove. Ambergris is more conditional cove, essentially. I think I can sell off the potion and roll here, because I would like to find dive weights. We don't find the dive weights. That's okay. Alright. Well, here's Argenta. Some very interesting skills. Desperate Strike is pretty good. Lifting is also very strong. Makes me wish I had the arms dealer, but Strike was what we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're not proccing Noisy Cricket. Let's just take lifting here. I think that can be very good for us. When we see Ayla, I would definitely buy some items here. So I will sell off the ambergris. Definitely get the katana upgrade. And these are some aquatic items. We did sell off the ambergris, but essentially it's going to be net neutral when we sell this cove. Like a reroll here too. Okay, nice upgrade for the shuriken. Do I sell off the cove for this? Yeah, I'm willing to sell off the cove, although the fishing rod might be better. This is generating 2 gold for me every day. Yeah, it's actually just the fishing rod, just because I think the cove is going to generate a little bit more money for us overall. And I will buy and sell these 2 items here, so grape shot, don't really want it. Grenade, don't really want it either. I don't need to sell it right now as well. Okay, seeing a Mac generally are poison builds, so I'm inclined to put this hoverboard on the board. And if I'm doing that, kind of wanting to maybe play something like this. Yeah, okay, just we'll see if we get punished for this, but my thinking is that if a Mac is a poison build, then our wetsuit or wetwear is not going to work out well for us anyway. And it looks like that's exactly what they're doing. They're a poison regen build, so we do just want to burst them down with as much damage as possible. This is a pretty significant amount of damage, although they do have a significant amount of regen. But we're pumping out the damage pretty strong here. Fortunately, no crit on our board, but yeah, very good decision for us. If we didn't play this bleeded hoverboard, I'm unsure that we would even win this fight. Okay, very nice. So we also get more damage on the Langxian, which is pretty good. It's easy to speculate off in other directions, but the Langxian still is doing good work for us. Okay, there's JJ. You don't have a lot of money here. I think I'm just liking going to the docks because we can guarantee get a weapon. That's good for our lifting skill. Magic carpet, huh? Okay. This is an interesting one. I'm also thinking that we're on day 5 here, so day 6 is when we can start seeing gold items, and I think our board is pretty strong. So I am going to take this opportunity to just get as much money as I can. I'll get this 6 gold, which will be 9 because of our cove. And, okay, some interesting decisions here. Mod Squad gives us the most gold. Kyber Commander has a pretty nice skill. And, you know, do they have a Langxian? I forget. Let's look that up. So, let's go to monsters here. I believe we're on day 5. Yeah, there's Kyber Commander. No, they have a Junkyard Lance. Okay. There's also this Counter-Strike. The first time an enemy uses a weapon, charge your items 1 second. That's not bad, but I really like going for the Sabertooth because Shiny Fang is so strong, as well as Diamond Fang. Plus, they give a good amount of money. Mod Squad I don't think is going to have much that we want outside of like crypto at this point. We could make a bulldozer work and like pivot into a friend build, but it seems like the Sabertooth is going to make most sense for us. So let's fight the Sabertooth, and whether we play the wetware or not doesn't really matter too much for this fight. I feel pretty confident we're going to burst them down pretty quickly. And if I could play the Shiny Fang with, in place of our Switchblade, that could be very powerful with our hoverboard. Well, let's see what we get here. Again, a lot of good options for us. Get some more damage on our Langxian as well. Okay, Diamond Pelt. We could transform that. You know, I really do love Pearl's Dig Site. This is a tough decision because Ayla is where we want to go for a lifting skill. But Pearls could have kind of anything for us. Yeah. I'm going to take the disciplined approach here. I'm going to go to Ayla because there are some good upgrades that we can find. And I don't think I'm playing Dart Launcher. I am going to buy it. Butterfly Swords could be kind of interesting. They did buff it so that it has a lower cooldown. But I will sell off the Dart Launcher. I don't need to sell this off just yet. I'm not going to buy the musket. It's just a little too expensive to buy and sell for my tastes. But yeah, upgrade to a Shuriken. I'm going to take it. Mantis Shrimp, buy and sell. Seems like a good option for me. And yeah, let's keep moving forward. I'm just going to take the most amount of money here. 2 gold plus a silver tier loot is pretty nice. And yeah, middle, sure. Middle has some nice upgrades for us. This being at bronze tier is not ideal. Might be something that we try and take off the board. There's also star chart. Okay, let's sell some of this chaff off. And I will retake the star chart. If we can get even 1 proc of that and 1 more experience, that could be good for us. I didn't like those items, so there's also a disguise. Yeah, I'm not too sold on these things either. Butterfly Swords, I don't need to sell just yet. Well, how much damage is it doing? So it's doing 62 on a 7-second cooldown. Yeah. Okay, I'm pretty sure the Switchblade is still where I want to be. Just, I had a 4-second cooldown, makes a lot of sense. You know, there's actually the Shuriken here. So this would be bursting for a pretty significant amount. That's 200 plus 3 proc for 5 procs here, so that's over 500 damage. Okay. Could be pretty good. Let's keep moving. Okay, it's a dually. So a dually with no wins. I'm just thinking, do I want to play the Shark Claws? So the Shark Claws will go off before the Shuriken, so that will create another 50 damage. Well, really create another 100 damage. Wetware, yeah, let's try and burst this dually down. I think that's going to be the best strategy for us. I could also put the Switchblade and the Butterfly Swords in. That'd be some nice damage with our strength skill. Getting more damage on the katana also feels pretty nice. Yeah, I think I'm going to run it like so. I do think that we have a pretty good amount of damage. Curious to see what a board that hasn't been winning on dually looks like at this point, because I feel like dually's a pretty strong early game hero. And they are a burn board, with the Trollosaur specifically, so this will be interesting. They do freeze our Shuriken, which is not ideal to say the least. We have really good burst damage. I'm just hoping this Trollosaur does not kill our Shuriken. Okay, it does exactly that, but it's okay. Langxian has more than enough damage to ensure that we win that fight. Yeah, their board is actually not bad, it's just a little slow. The launcher core maybe not doing all that it needs to on this one, but they have the makings of something very powerful. Alright, day 6 here. Well, I could transform something. I'm not too inclined to do so. I guess going to Andy or getting a friend makes sense. Andy, yeah, Andy could have dive weights, which is nice. There's also blowgun. I do really like this item. It's not really for the build that we're going for right now though, but grenade just for our skill makes sense. There's also the Zorsid there. Okay, I could sell this. I feel comfortable selling these all off. I will take this Zorsid. I will take the shoe blade just so they can buy and sell. It's some 1 gold investment for 1 damage on our board, makes sense. Holsters is very strong, but I'm not too worried about that one. Let's go to Ayla. Pet Rock. Again, not really what we want, but just for the amount of gold that we're investing, we'll take that and we'll reroll here on Ayla. Okay, sell this off. We're going to be buying and selling a lot of weapons. And just because we have this cove, we're trading a lot of like 1 gold for 1 damage on our board, which feels pretty nice for what I'd like to be doing in this run at least. Okay. So thinking about Dire Mosquito versus Dire Inglet. Dire Mosquito always messes me up. I don't want to take that risk. I will just go with Dire Inglet here. Having this aggressive skill is really nice. Also having an Obsidian Fang could be really good for us. Even putting crit chance on our Langxian. There's a lot that we could benefit from here. And there we can kind of see the combo. They didn't have a lot of health, but we can see that combo of the Shuriken bladed hoverboard. Okay, Obsidian Fang. Definitely a good item. There's aimbot here. Could give us crit chance items. I like that a lot. I'm also just thinking we could do something like this. Yes, put some hasting on our Langxian. And this Obsidian Fang, maybe it makes more sense to have it next to the hoverboard. But this is a really nice burst at 8 seconds. Okay, let's go to aimbot. The custom scope is incredible for a 1-weapon build, and we see the crow's nest right next to it. I don't know that we really need to pivot off of what we're doing right now, but it could be smart to invest in like our 1-weapon build that is like Langxian based. But with this crow's nest, yeah, we're just not really set up for that. I mean, crow's nest Langxian is a way to do it, but generally speaking, I think what's more powerful is that you take this Langxian, you try and get some sort of like crit chance or double damage on it, and then you utilize that outside of a crow's nest build. That's where I like to see it, as more like a finisher and not an all-in item. I will take this pet rock here just for the purposes of buying and selling. I feel comfortable selling off these 2 items as well, and I do want to see what we can find here with aimbot. Alright, well there's Calico, there's wanted poster. And yeah, we'll make that weird play, selling off the star chart yet again. Take the wanted poster. Could be a more consistent way for us to get experience. Alright. Now that we've leveled up and gone to Argenta here, I don't love the skills that I'm seeing Artillery spotter would be good, but we just aren't facilitating that currently. There's also stop that slows all of our opponent's items. Actually, that works really well with trains, so I'm going to take that. And interestingly here we do see Grandmaster. There's also Tox Clocks. Grandmaster, upgrading really any of our skills would be very, very potent for us, so I will go there. And yeah, upgrading lifting versus upgrading strength. Strength would be 10, 15, 20, let's see, another 25 here, so 45, 50, 55, 60, so this would be plus 60 damage on our board right now. Versus lifting, which could add up to that amount pretty quickly. Yeah, okay, I'll sell the Cove. I'll gain the lifting, I'll invest in the future. And let's fight this other dually. I'm also thinking about my Zorasid placement. Maybe that was in the wrong spot, because once the Shuriken goes off, we don't really need it to have done its thing anymore. Let's see, they have very little in the way of defense. I guess they have defense grid. So our burst is going to be pretty impactful. There's that big combo I was talking about, the Shuriken plus the bladed hoverboard. And yeah, we're able to burst through them pretty efficiently. So yeah, once we hit that like 8 to 10 second mark, we're doing over 1,000 damage pretty easily. And that's really good for these, whether we are at this phase of the game. Okay, now that we have this upgraded lifting skill, Andy feels really enticing. Zorasid upgrade, sure. Now that I don't have the Cove though, buying the blowgun is just looking less enticing for me. Yeah, don't need to do that. We'll take the dart launcher, we'll take the concealed dagger. It's kind of the same thing thinking about the switchblade. It's okay, I'll take it. There's Ayla, I'm gonna do the same thing here. Buy and sell a lot of items. Could, I guess, take the dart launcher. Maybe there's a world we use it. Not gonna buy that. Sure, I'll take the grappling hook. Just sell these right back. I don't think I want to be utilizing them. We'll take the cannon. And honestly, I'm just gonna go all in here. I'll take that as well. There's a world where we can also sell it back. Okay, and because we're buying and selling so much and so in on this lifting skill, I do like going to the treasure turtle here because they can have the most amount of money for us in return. Getting this bag of jewels would be awesome. Getting this expedition ticket would be awesome. And they do have 2 bags of jewels, so there's that double opportunity to get that 12 gold. And I think that would be most effective for us. But yeah, this lifting skill, going all in on it, it was a little risky. It's a very immediate reward for maybe not so much value long term, but I'll still continue to do it. And yeah, in freezing, I could maybe get like a haste freeze skill or like some way to haste my board, but getting more damage I think would be most effective. Okay, flashy reload. First 3 times he crit each fight, reload another item for 1 ambo. We have literally zero crit on our board, so I'm gonna pass here. Okay, tempering is very strong. Desperate Strike also very strong. Conflagration so strong. Tempering though makes the most sense. It's gonna proc super effectively with Shuriken. Same with the katana. Feel pretty good about that. And okay, so we have Mandala here. I could transform the submarine, but I do like trying to find an upgrade maybe to our hoverboard, to our Langxian. Okay, there's a katana upgrade. I'll take it, why not? Just a little bit more damage for our board. And we don't really have any money to reroll here. But I could go to cabin fishing, just get more gold essentially. Roll, sure. Alright. So we're definitely playing a tempo build here, where we're trying to just put as much damage on our board and win as many fights as we can as fast as possible without a great plan for the late game. Although there is certainly this 1-2 combo that I think could work well. And honestly, with the Obsidian Fang, the lifting skill looks even better. And we're going to burst our opponent pretty effectively here. Didn't even need the Langxian, but we had 700 damage on backup, in case that mattered. Okay. So it gets a little bit bigger there. I do wish that was at gold tier, but we'll take what we can get. Okay, an epic battle. Sure, I like an epic battle. Because we have, or we're getting more XP from these fights due to our wanted poster, going and winning one of these fights is going to be super impactful for us. It could allow us to like be even one level ahead of our opponents in some of these days. And also, of course, Miss Langxian, having this be bigger for our fights is important too. So, feels good to go here. Sirens? No. Looks like more gold to me. Forge Fortune, another plus 14 gold looks great too. Alright, let's go look at some crit items. Well, Chum is effectively net neutral in terms of gold, so I can buy it. It's 4 gold, but it creates a piranha here. It doesn't proc my lifting skill, unfortunately. And we'll take the throwing knives. And we will re-roll as well. Cyber Psy. Yeah, I could take it, sure, why not? Alright. So we know we can beat the car conduit, or the car conductor. There's also the wandering shoal. I believe that this encounter has a electric eels, which is pretty scary because it now does way more damage. But also if we could get that eels, that could be an out for our late game board. Thick hide is also really strong, especially if we have the stop that skill. So yeah, this isn't exactly where we want to be, katana and obsidian fang versus an electric eel, but I think we're gonna have enough health and burst to be a-okay. So yeah, I really want this thick hide, really want the electric eels. We'll see what we get. We get an amber, okay. Not the best, not the worst. Let's go to JJ, see if we can keep buying and selling weapons. So certainly some more weapons to buy and sell. Sell all these things. I could have been patient there, but I wasn't. That's okay. Buy and sell these things. Nice little upgrade there. I can buy the GTA and sell it and have exactly enough gold, so I will do that. And I kind of, because I have 2 medium items, want to save them. Just because if I find Midsworth, that could be good. Well, there's the shrouded figure. I could sell off all these things and then be able to get to level 10. Yeah, okay. So, I don't love selling this wanted poster, but this is kind of exactly what we were trying to do, which is power spike so that we're a level ahead of our opponents. And, well, this is good defense with our offense, and generally the most powerful builds in the game are ones that mix defense with offense. Turboing maybe our bladed hoverboard could be cool. Let's take a look at how Bazaar.gg. So let's look at the bladed hoverboard. So let's see, turbo, when you use an adjacent item, haste it for 1 second. That is certainly very strong, although it's not... There's also shielded when you use an adjacent item, shield equal to that item's damage. That could be even more effective. I'm just thinking about how what our build really revolves around currently is that we are bursting with our shuriken, and so it doesn't matter too much that this haste trigger on that item, it's only for the katana, but hasting a katana is also just super potent. Having it go off every 1 second is a ton of damage, but I do also kind of like hedging here and saying that if we get the shielding skill onto the bladed hoverboard, that could generate a ton of defense for us and maybe allow us to even get our Langxian off twice if that's gonna matter. Yeah, I think I like that. There is also a world where maybe we put this on our Langxian, but I believe that we're gonna generate more shielding just by having it on the hoverboard. So I'm gonna go for that. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Okay. And against Estelle, they have a pretty good offense-defense board, so this may be what we need to potentially survive a fight. Okay, they have a kite, so they're regen-based, which might be a problem for our burst damage. This vortex cannon is also going to be pretty good against us because we have fast items that are going to be seen as flying. So this is going to be a lot of regen here. There's our burst. Okay. That was pretty close. We actually kind of like just hit the threshold there. We're like half a second more and we probably would not have won that fight. So yeah, the vortex cannon because it checks any player for using flying items. They were seeing our shuriken go off our katana, our obsidian fang. That was pretty scary, but luckily we survived. Okay. I don't have a lot of gold, so I'm pretty incentivized to try and get free things here, although an ammo item would be pretty nice for what we're doing. But gaining some more XP would be all that we need to do what we need to do in an epic battle as well. Terraform, okay. Terraform has some interesting skills. Flashy reload, if we can get some crit. Passive power also could make our shield hoverboard better. There's some good stuff here. Alright, so we get through that. Just thinking about this biomerge arm. We'll see what we get before I start thinking about that. Okay, that's exactly what I have to think about. Alright, let's look at this item. When your item runs out of ammo, deal 100 damage. The item up to the left of this has plus 100 crit chance and plus 1 max ammo. Okay. So, take this off. Probably the Zorasid. Maybe it's the Fang. I'm thinking we're doing like this. Yeah, and then these are both hasted. Yeah, because this is gonna be doing 160, 170 damage 3 times. And then this will burst for a little bit more. That's pretty interesting. Okay. Well, let's go to Old Zane here.
So I'll help you.
When you use an ammo item, your weapons gain 3 damage for the fight. Seems pretty good. When one of your weapons is hasted, it gains plus 5 damage. I do like that, but I do think that this frontline logistics is interesting. It adds 15 damage to our board. I guess that's not like incredible, but that would be more than the streamline weapon. So yeah, I'll take that. Okay, I could go back to Terraform. I'd be interested to see what this would look like, but we could also try and get lifesteal off the Elite Duelist. Nah, I want to see what this looks like. Oh, yeah, it has another ammo because of this. Yeah, I wonder if we can get this to Diamond tier. Also, just like some of these skills would be pretty interesting for us. I think there's a lot that we would benefit from here. Yeah, wow, okay. This also doing 1,000 damage is pretty nice. Okay. Nice. So these are doing even more, which feels pretty good. I'm also just thinking about if these are somehow more damage. So, because it's 2 slots on our board, it made this having 100% crit chance, though, is very, very strong. Okay, well, let's not think too hard about it right now. Let's go to JJ. Pistol Sword. Pistol Sword is also very good. I think I will speculate on the Pistol Sword, because the Pistol Sword works incredibly well with a shuriken. And it can move out from there. Yeah, I don't have a lot here, so I'm just gonna get a tool. Wow. Well, this is like the build, right? Because there's a world where we do something like this. So this goes off 6 times, which represents 100 damage here, so this is 100 damage. Let's think about this. The katana we can equate in a second here. So at the 8-second mark, we are going to do 88, double that is 160, 174, so 176. So why don't we get the calculator out? So I literally got to get the calculator out. This is where I'm at. Okay, so 88 times 2, that's the crit chance here, and then it's going to be going off 6 times, so that's 1056. And then we also have 141 times 6, so that's 846 onto that, and we say that was 1056, so that's 1902. Then also we're going to get the 6 charges here, so let's just call that 100. So we're also going to get 600, so 2500, and then we're also going to get the 216 here, And then very shortly after, well, I guess here we're also going to get the 4 procs from this. So that is going to be another 400 plus 141. Let's just call that 150. So that's another 600. And I can take off some of that. So plus 600. So getting about that. Minus 240. And then we also have the Langxian coming in with about another 1100. Okay. And we're at 3700 HP. So that's a pretty large amount of damage. And then the katana is going off every 2 seconds. So at the 8-second mark, because it'd be in the place of the pistol sword, right? It'd be like pistol sword. Or we'd actually take off the Zorsid. Yeah, anyway. So we're putting this on board. It is going to do something like this. So pull up this again. So, okay, come back. We also, again, this is about doing 100 damage. So at the 8-second mark, this will have gone off 4 times. So that's, let's just say that's 400 plus this 150 or 280, 560 plus 560. So that's what we're gonna get there. Yeah, okay. And one is way more. That doesn't also account for, you know, the 1100 here. And plus this whole thing. I guess it's 20. Okay. Let me figure this out. We'll come back. Okay, pretty confident that this is better. I may have run the numbers incorrectly, but I think that this is gonna be good. So, is there a way we can facilitate this going off faster? Doesn't look like it. Against the pig, maybe this is a mistake because we're very burst based and the katana at least had like a consistent amount of damage. But okay, they had 3000 health. They're a cargo shorts build, and they're also a yo-yo build. We kind of have to, we're going to be getting off before the cargo shorts at the very least. So I think when this bursts, it's going to be very powerful. Yeah, okay. We're okay. Very nice, very nice. You can just check the recap here. Yeah, did some really good damage, just didn't even go off. Cool. Well, we have the Exodia ammo build. And okay, well, this is an interesting one. Can we, I don't really want to replace, maybe it's on the pistol sword. So I'm just gonna pull out the pistol sword here. So when you use an ammo item, haste an item for 1 second. Yeah, it's probably pretty good. There's also a world where we put like double the haste value on the dive weights, haste things for 4 seconds. Yeah. We may regret it because we want to put like some sort of damage modifier in the pistol sword. Oh, you know, I'm also curious what biomerge harm does. Doesn't look that powerful. It hastes an item? No. When we run out of ammo? No. Let's just this on the pistol sword. That could be very powerful because whenever we use any single ammo item, we're going to be hasting even more. If we can get a haste skill on top of that, that'd feel pretty good. Alright, well, I'm willing to sell off a lot of stuff here, so well, even better upgrade. Sweet. Yeah, I'll sell this off, get the pistol sword upgrade. I don't think we need the ballista, so just do that. And we don't have a ton of money. Forge Fortune, we keep getting very lucky with that. Okay. Awakened District, Trash Titan. Hulking Experiment could be interesting because they have this parting shot. When you use an ammo item, it gains 5% crit chance. So that could be pretty good with our pistol sword. Could also like create a lot of regen on our board. Yeah, I feel like all that'd be pretty good. I think the parting shot is what I really want though. None of this else really interests me. Rainbow Potion, not parting shot, but that's okay. There's also Paul. I don't really want anything from Paul. We'll just go to Mandala here because I got this gold tier Rainbow Potion. Maybe I can turn it into something interesting. And Concealed Dagger is not it, that's okay. And yeah, I'll go to get a random relic. Crude Tools, huh? So this charges your tech items, and we have Yeah, only one tech item. Okay. Let's fight this Vanessa here. I feel pretty confident about our board, but maybe that's some famous last words here. We are bursting for a lot, and they have considerably more HP than our last opponent. I also have foreboding winds, and they have some really good freezing. Yeah, I think we're going to need the Langxian to do its thing here. We'll see what gets frozen. The Langxian gets frozen, unfortunately. It's just... Okay, we didn't even need the Langxian. Very nice. We were scaling our damage really, really effectively. Yeah, this pistol sword with our shuriken combo. It worked in Season 5, it works in Season 6. Okay, now if we could get an upgrade to the shielded hoverboard, certainly take it. There's also a repeater. No, I think our board is better without it. Piano is also interesting. I'll take the torpedo for a lifting skill. Another just random enchantment, huh? Let's put it on the Langxian. Let's see what we get. Alright, Turbo Langxian, sure. Why not? Okay, so this would be 20 more damage, but it really is going to be another 120, another 220 damage. So that's what that looks like, plus shielding. This is just one more. I mean, our Langxian, we're potentially one fight away from winning. This gets another 100 damage. Yeah, it looks like the hoverboard is going to be the choice here. Okay. Rex Specs versus Boss Hero. Boss Hero has some crit chance skills, some damage skills. You could even get diamond tier strength. Well, I guess we actually have silver tier, so we can't get that. But Keen Eye could be interesting. Assault Focus, I think, would be pretty obscene with our training skill. And yeah, Turbo Langxian. At the 10-second mark, we haste 2 items for 3 seconds. Very powerful. Very powerful. Keen Eye. Very good for us. Okay. And, you know, I'm just going to kind of hedge here. I'm going to go to Jules Cafe. I'm going to put 25 damage across the board and hope that's enough to win our last fight. Also go to Weapons or somebody who could maybe sell some good weapons for us. Matt could have an interesting reagent. Yeah, we'll go to Mac. Okay, Orly. Nah, I'm not going to spend too much money here. If I don't win this next fight, then I'm going to want to be able to kind of aggressively search for what I need from my own item pool. I don't need to get too tricky with it. So this is a Vanessa. They're a boulder build. Yikes. Okay. They're a double silencer hasted boulder build. This is going to be going off before our Langxian, so we're going to need to burst them. It does have crit, but it does not crit us. Whew. It had a 74% crit chance, and it did not crit. So we got really lucky there. We got 26% lucky, I'd even say. Yeah, it did its full thing, but luckily your shielded hoverboard went off just in the nick of time. But you know what? I'll take that. We played the perfect or close to perfect hoverboard ammo build. This is something that we saw a lot in Season 5, and it's still pretty good in Season 6. And honestly, it's a pretty fun way to play, I would say. But honestly, we're kind of like a Langxian build for most of that. This Langxian did absolute work for us, and it provided a ton of damage to kind of bridge the gap in that early game portion where, yeah, we lost, I think, exactly one fight. And then we were still able to get just so much value off of extra NPC monster encounters, just pumping up the damage in this thing. And it was only at silver tier this whole game, but it still did 1400 damage. And that allowed us to kind of bridge that gap so that once we were trying to burst with our shuriken, it was kind of like the 1-2 punch that followed things up. But once we found the pistol sword, I mean, it was all over. Even this biomerge arm was super, super important because getting 100% crit chance on this thing just did some obscene damage. But yeah, interesting ways with our skills too. I like that I could demonstrate here kind of what a lifting board could look like. And we saw that our shuriken really benefited from this as well as our pistol sword. Our build would not have been nearly as powerful if not for this lifting, putting some really good damage on our hoverboard, our pistol sword, and our shuriken. So yeah, that was a cool run. I'm pretty stoked, and this is what I mean with Vanessa. It just feels like there's a lot of really viable builds that are pretty fun to play, and ones that I'm kind of like excited to mix and match and try and figure out how to optimize. So that was really cool. And you know, we're here. Let's open some 10 chests. I promised in my last video that we would do it, so I'm gonna deliver here. Let's see if we can get maybe a custom board or something like that. I'll get a max skin that I already own, maybe 3 of, so you know, we'd love to see that. This is an interesting card back too. And it's silver card back. Okay, very cool. And this rug, I think, is the rug that I was utilizing in the run that I was just playing, so funny how that works. But anyway, I appreciate you all joining me here for another episode of the Bazaar Over-Explained. I am the Bazaar Whisperer. If you like what I do, you could subscribe, and hey, we're almost at 500 subscribers, so some new fun stuff will be coming to the channel when that happens. I'll see you soon.